What's going on, guys? My name is Pastor Gilles. I'm back with another video. You know what it is, guys. Please subscribe, share the video, comment down below, and like the video. Can't wait to get in the video. Let's take it.
Yes, guys, so let's continue the video, guys. In this video I just want to show you four of my main favorite like reversal patterns, of which the first one is the double top, and which is like arguably favored by many traders, many retail traders here. So you can see its nature. I mean, it's sort of like it's actually an M letter. If you know letter M, it's more common with it. So what happens with this structure is like you can see the first thing on happening, price make the first impulse or the first push to the upside, and then sort of like you see price making a retracement. And what does it do? Most traders would be looking in the will be entering the market for buys, going like impulse correction and impulse. So some will eventually take their profit when price reaches this structure. Some will not. We want to see price will break and retest and continue on upside. So unfortunately, this is a double top. And what does price do? It fails to break and retest and continue to upside. And what does it do? It actually comes to the downside. So this is what is resistant, and that is how you can. This is how you're supposed to use a proper. This is a proper way of using resistant. And what's going to happen? This is our support now. So be careful for to see with your entries. Wait for price to make the first impulse. More especially if you're on the smaller time frames, wait for price to actually push and break the neckline and retest and go to downside. Sometimes it doesn't have to retest; it just impulse to the downside without you even knowing. You know what I mean? So I I very much like favor this pattern. So the second one is the head and shoulder pattern, and arguably can see like this. It has to be the pattern that takes a long time to actually form. You can see we made the first shoulder, which is the left shoulder, and price came down. When it reaches here, many traders will be looking for a double top structures. And so can you see if you can just always want to just jump in the trade, and then you're gonna take a sell, and the next time prices continues to the upside and make it what? Make it ahead. And it's always very important to actually wait for price to actually give you confirmation before you take your entries. Therefore, it forms another right shoulder. Then what happens? Price can retest this neckline and continue to the downside, or it might not retest it. So it takes special experience to actually spot these things and actually anticipate them without making mistakes, unless otherwise, because you never know what the market is going to do. You know what I mean? So, but then this is a proper way of like anticipating these patterns. So the third one is an ascending channel. Also a rising channel. You know what I mean? What happens is like price is playing within the channel and like this. So once price give you the first one, two, three, and then on the third touch we're looking to anticipate the sales to the downside. Again, it's always important to be careful with your entries because price can just keep on going to the upside. We are not the market makers, we just retail traders. Anything can happen in the market, so it always takes special attention before taking anticipating those entries. But then most of the time they do actually play out. Once price give it makes it a touch, it actually goes to the downside. Most of the time it does goes to the downside. So moving to the ascending wedge, more common to the channel, but it's just like the end of it is starting to squeeze a little bit. It's no longer like forming a channel, like it's as if like it's squeezing like the trend line, as if like they are about to touch each other. So what happened is like again it made one, two, three, and also you have to be careful with it because price can just keep on trickling and push to the downside. More especially if you see this happening on the smaller time frame. But then when it happens on the higher time frames, yes, you can anticipate from this structure to this structure and make decent profit. That only takes a lot of skill and experience for you as a trader to actually spot those things when they happen on the larger time frames and go to the smaller time frame and anticipate those that small move from here to here. But once price break this high here, it means like now price is confirmed to actually push price to the downside, maybe to this low here, or it might come to this low and retest and test this low and push to the upside. So you never know. You just have to anticipate the edge, just anticipate the thing that you've been seeing happening most of the time. But uh, what I mean by this, like this is a rising wedge, and most of the time it moves from the third touch until it reaches this point. So it's always important to understand your edges. So right now, let's go to the charts and try to see what we can do. And remember, guys, this thing have their opposite structures, of which the double top has what we call the double bottom. The entries and everything still the same. You just apply the same method of entries, but just that like now it's in opposite direction. This is the ending of the bullish trend. This is the ending of the bearish trend. So like this is what is a double bottom structure, and also you can draw there is support and resistance according to how you've been drawing them on the double top. And then this the head and inverse. I mean, it's the inverse head and shoulder pattern like this. Also, it's similar in structure, just that like the direction, and this is the ending of the bearish trend. Therefore, we have a descending channel of which is also something like this, Okay, I'm sorry, it's like something like this. It keeps on going down like this, and then on the third touch signals the end of the bearish trend. So be careful with it, as it can just keep on continuing to the downside. If you can see, we are in a down trend. So be careful with your entries, not just to jump in any third touch that you see. Be careful with it, and also the wedge. Just apply the same stuff. So guys, let's jump into the chart and see if we can spot them and try to see how we can actually anticipate them. So the first one just gonna start with our double top, right? So now we are in the USD. I'm in the USD. Okay, or let me just go to another parent, and then let me go to another let me go to another pair, and then we'll come back. Let's go maybe to GBPJPY, right? Let's go to GBPJPY and we'll come back in that structure. So let's start on the daily time frame, and then we do this, right? Okay, I've been doing some analysis. Let me remove these structures here. So what happened is like, okay, fine. We can see here, let's start with the first double top. Is there an obvious double top that we see? I need an obvious double top that we see, but bear in mind it doesn't have to be always obvious for you to actually spot. All right, there's a mini double top, there's a larger double top. So with the always stuff, this is a double bottom. You can see them. Let me just keep on circling them. This is a double bottom here. You can see it. For a double top here, you can see it, and a mini double top here, you can see it. So they quite play a lot of the time, and they actually do what? Double bottom and then push price to the upside, double top, push price to the downside, double top, push price to the downside. So you have to be actually good at actually anticipating them, and be careful with your entries, as anything can happen in the market. So always be careful. Don't just, when you see any double top you go in, when you see any double bottom you go in. So how do we anticipate them? Correct. Let's go. Let's start with this one here. Let's cut the price back here. Let's cut the price back here. Okay, cool. Let's cut the price back here. So right now we are on the daily time frame, right? What's happening is like, Shabu, you first had this structure here, right? And then what happens? You mark the previous high like this, right? So you want to see if this thing is still, like you can see, this very impulsive. Break, retest, and continue to the upside. So this is a strong resistant area. So unfortunately, we are looking to see price breaking, retesting, and go to the upside due to the fact that like we have this impulsive move. So what happens next? Price started doing this. You see, price started doing this, then it continues to the downside. So where is our neckline? There is our neckline here. There is our neckline here. You see, but ever since you're on the daily time frame, you can anticipate this move here, as long as you are an experienced trader and you know what you're doing, you can take this move. But if you're a beginner, it's gonna take you a lot of time to actually be precise with this pattern and with the structure and what. So, but the now price broke below the structure. Now it's making an actual retest, right? It's making an actual retest. And again, here, guys, please be careful with your entries because price can just be simply making uh, a range. So that's what I'm saying. Like it will take you as a trader some sort of experience and habit to actually be able to catch nice entries on this pattern, right? So, but some traders do actually anticipate this move, and I'm also anticipate this move, and even this move I'm able to anticipate it as long as this thing happened on the daily time frame. When I drop down to the smart time frame, I'll be able to anticipate this move, right? So be careful with that. So right now, price making an actual retest. It brooks above. You can see catching people on the wrong side of the market and then bang, strong candlestick to the downside. It's sort of it's an engulfing candle. And then you see now price started going to the downside. Where was the start? You can target this low as a take profit. Therefore, simple as that, man. You see, continue to push to the downside. That's how strong this heading. I mean, this double top structure it is. You see, so if you're a beginner and don't know anything, always try to anticipate when you see price break below and retest and then take it here. But if it happens on the smaller time frames, be careful. Don't just like rush to take entries here or here because you might be in trouble. As price can just continue putting to the upside, retest and continue to the upside. But for experienced traders, yes, it's possible and they always do it. They take the entries here because of some certain features in the market and which confirm with them why they're supposed to take the entry there. So you as a beginner, this is a good way of trading of anticipating head and shoulder pattern by waiting for price to break the neckline, retest and continue on downside. You see? So let's should I do another example or should I just jump to the head and shoulder pattern? I feel like jumping to head and shoulder pattern. There's something making noise here. I'm staying next to a big shop, so it's actually making some noise here. So guys, let's jump to head and shoulder pattern. That was number 2 for us, right? So this is the head and shoulder pattern. This structure is an head and shoulder pattern here. As you can see, what happened, we had this. It's not a picture perfect head and shoulder pattern, as the market will never be a picture perfect structure. I mean, it never be perfect, but you just have to understand like this is a head and shoulder pattern. If you can clearly see left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder, and then price broke to the downside. Where is your neckline? So let's connect our neckline here, of which this is our neckline here, right? Oh, let me use it. The neckline in terms of like is the neckline. You see? So you heard me when I said price. It doesn't have to come and retest it there on the neckline. Sometimes it just breaks the structure like this. But for the fact that like this was a slanting, it was a slanting head and shoulder pattern. You can still plot your resistance or support or the key area, whatever you want to call it. So here, so you can clearly see here, price was trying to retest it here. If you can see, let's just extend our key area to the wicks there. You can see price actually retested with a smaller line of correction and price continuing to the downside. So there are a couple of ways you can take this um, pattern here, but one thing for sure, wait for price to break the neckline. If it doesn't retest, and for the fact like this was a slanting head and shoulder pattern, yes, a retest from here it makes sense. And also if price could have went to retest the neckline there, it was gonna make sense too. But in this scenario, price didn't retest the neckline, it actually retested the low of the first uh, shoulder there, which was the left shoulder. And then what happened next? You could have called the entire impulse to the downside. So be careful with the interest that you take. So let's quickly jump to the rising channel. So remember, guys, there's its invest to where you can actually anticipate it, like the way you anticipate it too. So let's quickly jump to the rising channel quickly. The video is already too long. There is a rising channel there. You see, this is the rising channel there. You see, Is it the rising channel or is it a wedge? It's a wedge. Okay. I'll finish with the rising channel. I'm sorry. I'll finish up with the rising channel. So this is a wedge. As you can see, price was doing that movement like that, playing in this wedge. And as you can see, the trend line, they're as if like they're going to touch at the end there. Let's cut the price back at this structure here. Let's cut price at this structure here. You can see it takes a good traders to actually anticipate this move here to the downside. As they saw like okay, 1, 2, 3, and on the third that would happen, price broke to the downside. You see, so that's how you anticipate the wedge. Price broke to the downside, and what does it do? It continued to move to the downside. So, like I said earlier, it doesn't have to touch touches here, but it's more favorable to come and touch here. Sometimes just test the structure. I mean the resistance of the support on the in the middle of this or on the second touch of the lower trend line and then continue to push to the upside. So these are just a variation of how things can happen. What you need to understand is how you can anticipate this thing, of which now it made a third touch there, and then even in the candlestick confirmation you can see engulfing candles in the evening star there, so confirming your entries. And how price approached there, it was very corrective, and it was very corrective to actually even give price like activate those impulses to the downside. So 1, 2, 3, and then when the third touch, you anticipate yourselves, but then also always be careful. Wait for more confluence before entering the market. For as long as you are still a beginner, wait for a little bit of confluence before taking confluence. I mean like how price approached it was corrective, and then again the candlestick structures, you know your candlesticks, the one that you favors, and then they favor your reversal, the likes of like high test, and the likes of like engulfing candlesticks, the likes of like 1 hour treatment. Just work with those entries only when they reaches the area of value. This is the area of value where many traders are looking to see price reversing from. You see, so yeah, let's jump to the guys. Be careful with your entries. Be careful where you take those entries, and always look for confluence. Always look for confluence uh before entering the market, because you don't want to see yourself in the wrong side of the market. You know what I mean? So always be careful with those entries that you take. Right? So this is another way you can really see it. So just have like a lot of practice, you'll be able to spot this thing happening over and over again. So guys, I'm signing out.
This is the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was very much informative to you guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment, share, and see you in the next video, guys. Signing out.